What's up, everybody? It's your boy KZ here. We're going to be talking about UFC Vegas 110, Onama versus Garcia. Sorry for getting this out so late in the week. I know it's Friday, but your boy's just like the rest of y'all. I work full time. It's been a long fucking week. I know you guys get how it feels. I don't do this shit full time. I'm not a full time YouTuber. I'm just a UFC fan that just so happens to enjoy making videos and breaking down these fights and stuff. So forgive me for the late picks. Hopefully, we're able to continue the momentum from last week. I went 9-12. I guess if you don't count the Aspinall no contest, because I picked Aspinall. Gon was looking good, but that's beside the point. Your boy went 9-12. One of the top predictors, was fourth placed, most profitable in the picks. So hopefully we can continue that momentum here going into this week. I'm not a lot of these fights I'm a little bit iffy about, especially this first one here, Carnelossi versus Alencar. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. This fight, man, this is technique versus brute strength. With Carnelossi, it's like, fuck, dude, something just makes me want to pick her. Maybe it's her gigantic biceps, but it's just like, I feel like if Talita Alencar is just stuck with her on the feet, it's going to be a hard time for Talita. Talita's scrappy, but she does get hit a lot. And if Carnelossi starts landing those steroid punches, it might be a tough night for Talita Alencar. Maybe not getting finished, but Carnelossi could pull off a decision if she just keeps it on the feet the whole time. But I am picking Alencar. This is not me telling. I would not bet on this fight personally, but you guys can do whatever the fuck you want. You're grown men with your own money. But I'm just saying, Carnelossi's 1,000,000% a steroid cheat, and that's what makes it hard for me to predict. Will Alencar be able to get Carnelossi down and hold her down consistently in each round? That's the issue. Alencar definitely has the technique advantage, but Carnelossi has that physicality because of the supplements. But Alencar has solid head kicks. Her high level jiu-jitsu we all know about, but she's got some solid kicks on her for a jiu-jitsu girl. Carnelossi struggled with takedowns against Lupi Godinez and Pierre Rodriguez, but both of those girls are a little bit bigger and better wrestlers than Talita Alencar. If she's stuck on the feet, I do think that Carnelossi will be too much for her. She's juiced to the gills, and it's gonna be a rough time. Alencar's gonna be stuck on the feet with Carnelossi and her biceps, but Alencar is kind of a dog. But if she can't get Carnelossi down, I think she's going to get beaten up. But I'm going to go ahead and lean towards the side of the jiu-jitsu girl to, implement her game plan, out-grapple Carnelossi, and look good here. But like I said, man, this is not a fight where I'm like, yeah, Alencar's a lock. Yeah, Carnelossi's like, Like, this is a fight where it's like, fuck me. I hope I get my pick right. That's about it. It's a 50-50 fight for me. But moving on to a fight where your boy does have some confidence, we got Seokhyeon Ko versus Phil Rowe. That shit rhymes and it sounds good. But I like Ko to get this done big time here. Rowe got MMA math. Rowe got wrestle fucked by Angelosa before Losa ended up gassing out. And we saw Rowe come back, get that comeback KO as Losa was just couldn't breathe. He was up against the cage. Rowe just poured it on and got him out of there. And we saw what Seokhyeon Ko was able to do against Oban Elliott for 3 rounds. He wrestle-fucked Oban Elliott, didn't gas out, dominated him the whole time. So I think Ko can do the same thing here against Phil Rowe. But, Ko can definitely strike with Rowe. He has that X factor with the high-level wrestling and grappling. I'd even go as far to say as Seokhyeon Ko is my lock for the week. Ko's the real deal, I feel like. He's technical, disciplined, got that strong wrestling in the back pocket. Rowe's length is tricky. Rowe does have a significant height and reach advantage here. 80-inch reach, fucking 9.5-inch reach advantage is absurd. Like, that's fucking crazy. 5 inches in height. But, everybody's the same height on the ground. I think that Ko is going to be able to get the takedowns here. He can strike with him, and then he can easily mix in the level changes to control the fight. I do expect Ko to wear him down, get top control, and dominate positionally. It's going to be a safe, smart, lock-worthy pick, in my opinion. If Rowe is able to get this win here, I'll be pretty surprised based on what we've seen in their last 2 fights. But yeah, man, that's about it for that one. I got Ko, most likely decision here. Now we got Alice Ardelean versus Montserrat Conejo Ruiz. Ardelean is an OnlyFans chick. She got that dumpy, y'all. Fucking go to Google Images if you don't believe me. Ardelean ass. But she's a lot bigger than Ruiz. not just with her butt cheeks, just her frame. She's taller, and just overall, just a bigger woman. She showed a lot of grit and determination in her last fight against Rayani Dos Santos. She was taking a lot of big shots. And Rayani Dos Santos actually lost a close split decision to Talita Alencar. Fight could have gone either way. But yeah, I think Alice's physicality is going to be the difference here. Ruiz is gritty, she's tough, but she's undersized and she's overly reliant on those clinch takedowns, like that head and arm throw or that headlock throw. But yeah, I think that Ardelean's bigger, stronger, and tougher than people give her credit for. Like I said, her fight with Rayani Dos Santos showed that. So yeah, I expect her to shrug off the takedowns, keep it standing, and land the harder shots for a gritty decision win. She's a marauder. But yeah, I think that Alice is going to get this done. Should she be a minus 400 favorite? Absolutely not. But Montserrat Ruiz is 1-3 in the promotion. Alice is 1-2. So it's like, I don't know. Who did she even beat? She beat Cheyenne Vlismus. I remember that fight. She just kept taking her down, and they were all pissed off at each other after that shit. But yeah, Cheyenne Vlismus is not a high-level fighter. It's not like that good of a win. But yeah, I'm going to pick Alice here. I think that she's going to have the size advantage. Well, she does have the size advantage, I don't think. But I think that she's going to be able to win due to that size advantage. So yeah, moving on, we got Ketlen Vieira versus Norma Dumont. I got Norma Dumont here. Norma Dumont decision. Dumont is like a more athletic, non-ugly version of Ketlen Vieira. I like her footwork, and she has fast hands. Vieira's just like a big goon. She's probably gonna have more power, but I like Dumont's footwork here. I think that Dumont's faster, cleaner with her footwork. She has a good jab that she actually, utilizes pretty well. Vieira's strong, but she's really plotting, relies a lot too much on just like her size and clinch control up against the fence. She does have solid Muay Thai. Ketlen Vieira can strike, but I think that Dumont is going to be able to circle, counter, and frustrate Vieira. She's going to be able to stay disciplined and, not get bullied on the fence. She's going to outstrike Vieira all night, I feel. And I'm expecting a clean decision win for Dumont. I think that she looks good in these fights, not just because of the dump truck, but, because of her actual fighting. But yeah, Norma Dumont decision. We're going with it, not just because she's hot, but because I actually think that she's going to win the fight. Moving on, Donte Johnson versus Sedriques Criminal Dumas. Bro, Donte Johnson is going to incarcerate this man's consciousness. He's going to fucking put Sedriques Dumas in prison unconsciously, if that makes any fucking sense. It was better the first time. All right, just ignore me. Okay, Donte Johnson hits like a fucking truck, okay? He's very fast, explosive, and powerful. He's had 5 TKO wins here in 2025, and I think that he's going to knock the shit out of Sedriques Dumas and make it 6 TKO wins here in 2025. Donte Johnson's an absolute monster right now. He was fighting at heavyweight and light heavyweight. He's moving down to middleweight. There is a little bit of a staph infection issue, or I guess like worry with Donte Johnson. Dude had kind of like a hole in his leg. You can look it up on Twitter here, Donte Johnson staph or Donte Johnson, and it'll be the first thing to pop up. So if it does start to go into the later rounds, maybe Sedriques Dumas is a good live bet, but I don't think that it's going to be able to I don't think it's getting out of round 1. I think Johnson is gonna, get this done. Those 5 TKOs in 1 year speaks for itself. He's explosive, violent, confident. He definitely has the power to get this done. Dumas has decent power, but he lacks composure under fire. He doesn't like getting punches thrown at him. Not many people do, but he for a fighter, he doesn't handle it very well. He kind of just like freaks the fuck out when people are like pressuring him and in his face. So I think Johnson's speed and pressure will overwhelm him. He's going to land big, hard shots. Once he finds the chin, it's going to be lights out for Sedriques Dumas. I'm expecting a highlight reel KO that makes people say, holy shit, Donte Johnson is the fucking man. So that's what I'm expecting from this. If I'm wrong, shit, I'll be surprised, to be honest. This is not financial advice, all right? But I'm saying Donte Johnson round 1 KO, highly likely to happen, in my opinion. But yeah, now we got Timmy Cuamba versus ChangHo Lee. Get out my store! So yeah, I think Cuamba is going to be able to get this done here over ChangHo Lee. Kwamba's the slicker and more measured striker of the two. He should be able to land the cleaner, harder shots. I see him defending the grappling and not gassing out like Cortavius Romeus did, which is what, led to ChangHo Lee's success in that fight. I see him working his way to a clear decision win or getting a stoppage later on in the fight. I do like Timmy Kwamba's striking here. ChangHo Lee kind of gets hit a lot. Just statistically, I mean, if you look at the whole UFC stats, which I'm not really a stats guy, I'm more like a watch the tape and see who's better in what areas. But statistically, ChangHo Lee does take more strikes per minute. That's not what I'm basing my pick on, but it's just something to consider. So I think that Cuamba is going to be able to get this done here. I think that he is the cleaner striker, like I said. So we're picking Timmy Cuamba by maybe a late stoppage, most likely decision here. Now we got Kevin Christian versus Billy Elekana. I am unimpressed with the tape that I watched on Kevin Christian. Not pretty unimpressed. I am unimpressed. He's solid enough on the feet, but he doesn't have good takedown defense. I think that Elekana's grappling is going to be sophisticated enough to keep himself safe on top to win a decision here. I don't think that he'll get caught with any submissions that Christian throws up from the bottom from his guard. So yeah, I like Elekana here. I like him. He has decent enough striking to not run into anything stupid and just get knocked the fuck out. And I think that he's going to be able to get the takedowns and just outwork Kevin Christian on the ground. It might be a boring win, but I think that Billy Elekana can and will wrestle fuck Kevin Christian. It's not going to be the most exciting thing in the world, but a win's a win. And I'm picking Billy Elekana to get it done there. Now we got Allan Nascimento versus Cody Durden. I got Allan Nascimento all day. I got him by submission. He was training to fight Rafael Estevam, a wrestle fucker. Rafael Estevam is one of my least favorite fighters, by the way. That motherfucker just goes out there to hug like a bitch. He misses weight at 125, and then he just hugs the entire time. Basically like Jalton Almeida if he was just like a skinny pussy instead of like a gigantic motherfucker on steroids. But that's besides the point. Like, fuck, I guess the point is fuck Rafael Estevam and his fighting style, but we're not talking about Rafael Estevam. We're talking about Cody Durden. But yeah, Durden's wrestling first style, in the short notice prep, has him set up for trouble against Allan Nascimento, a slick grappler. Durden would most likely going to try to shoot takedowns, but that's exactly what Allan wants. He wants to have it on the ground. Once it hits the mat, I feel like Nascimento's jiu-jitsu advantage is significant, definitely. And I do expect him to either take the back or maybe even get a club and sub type thing if he is able to catch Durden on the feet. Durden does have power in his hands, but I think that Allan Nascimento isn't going to get caught by something stupid. He might, but I don't think so. But yeah, I like the jiu-jitsu advantage for Allan. I think that if Durden does try to shoot takedowns, he'll end up getting reversed and potentially even submitted. That's what I think. Yeah, he's going to take the back or snatch up a choke in transition. They're scrambling. Allan is able to get a guillotine or Darce choke, anaconda choke, and any one of those front headlock submissions. But honestly, Nascimento by sub does feel inevitable here in this fight, or even just like a TKO. He hurts Durden on the feet, follows up with him ground and pound, blocks himself into top position, and just pounds out Cody Durden. The short notice is definitely going to be a factor in this fight. Cody Durden, he stays in shape. He's a committed fighter, but he's at kind of like the later stages of his career. I don't think that he's going to be able to beat a Nascimento that's coming in, full training camp. He's fighting someone with a similar, wrestle heavy style in Estevam, who fights like a fucking pussy. But yeah, that's it. Nascimento by sub. I'm going to stop talking shit about Rafael Estevam now. But yeah, moving along, we got Charles Radtke versus Daniel Frunza. This is essentially the fight of who lands first. Radtke got fucked up. He got fucked up by Malat, and he got fed to the wolves again with Carlos Prates. But I don't know, man. Frunza was getting fucking destroyed by Reese McKee. Doctor stoppage. Reese McKee is not that good. So I like Charles Radtke here to get the KO. This is kind of like a 50-50 fight, I feel. Both guys hit hard. Both guys are susceptible to getting knocked out. Well, Frunza less so. Frunza's never been TKO'd apart from, the doctor stoppage, but he is, I guess, very hittable. And he isn't the most durable guy in the world. So Charles Radtke can open him up. Pause in terms of like cuts on his face and make him bleed. But yeah, no, I think Charles Radtke is going to be able to land the hard shots first. Minus 170, not great, not terrible. But yeah, this isn't a fight that I would bet personally. But I like Charles Radtke KO here. I think that he should be able to catch Daniel Frunza, maybe even a club and sub. He knocks Daniel Frunza down, wraps his neck up, and gets a submission. So yeah, Charles Radtke inside the distance, I would feel like is maybe something I might play, maybe not. But that's going to be the pick here for me. Now we got Isaac Dulgarian versus Yadier Del Valle. This fight is a little rough. Dulgarian's a very strong wrestler, but that's kind of feel like he's very one-dimensional in that sense. He does have solid ground and pound, but Del Valle is the more well-rounded fighter. You know, he's got better striking, footwork, just overall cleaner and more polished on the feet. He's got decent grappling as well, good grappling transitions. He out-wrestled and out-grappled Michael Aswell, who's a good fighter, but that was down at 145. Aswell's looked a little bit better since he moved up. But he can stuff takedowns, scramble back up, and pick Dulgarian apart on the feet. If Del Valle stays disciplined, you know, he can defend those takedowns and get the stoppage as Dulgarian starts to slow down, because Dulgarian is just fucking foot to the pedal to the metal, you know, foot all the way down. Just let me try to wrestle you and ground and pound the fuck out of you and get the stoppage. So if Dulgarian doesn't get him out of there in round one, I could see Del Valle having success later on in the fight as Dulgarian starts to wear down. Then we got Jeremiah Wells versus Themba Gorimbo. This fight is another hard one for me to call, you know, because neither guy is great. You know, Wells is dangerous early. You know, he's all gas and chaos. Gorimbo's a little bit more patient of a fighter. He can wrestle as well as Wells, but I guess Themba is a little bit more economical with his gas tank. We saw Jeremiah Wells completely gas out against Carlston Harris and ends up getting just choked out. Last fight, we saw Themba Gorimbo get fucking dropped and submitted by Vicente Luque, which isn't a great loss. Or, I mean, it's not a great loss because of how Vicente Luque has been looking recently. I mean, that was Vicente's Luque, like, what? His only win, like, how many? All right, I guess he did beat RDA, like, wrestle fucking him. But, you know, RDA is a lightweight. So, outside of Themba Gorimbo, yeah, Vicente Luque is 0-3, you know, 1-3 if you count the Gorimbo win, but that's not a good look for Themba Gorimbo. But I am picking Themba Gorimbo. I'm not betting this motherfucker, though. I'm not betting either one. Jeremiah Wells KO is live because, you know, he does have a lot of power. But yeah, Themba Gorimbo, I think that he should be able to, he's the guy with the better cardio in this fight. I think that if he stays calm and weathers the initial storm from Wells, you know, if he's going to be trying to go out there and land really hard shots, Wells throws bombs. I think that he can outwork Wells with better cardio and top control down the stretch. You know, Wells can always land something wild, but Gorimbo is the more measured fighter. Like I said, I wouldn't bet on this, but Gorimbo is going to be the pick. Now we got Waldo Salsa Boy Cortes-Acosta versus Ante Three Nipples Dalia. Dalia is the more complete heavyweight here. You know, he's got solid grappling, good top control, good striking, good power, got the ability to fight smart. Waldo's very boxing heavy, you know, low output. He just kind of throws one big shot, maybe throws a 1-2 combo, but it's all just like singular, really heavy shots from Waldo Cortes-Acosta. If he gets you hurt, then yeah, he opens up and throws more strikes. But Dalia overall has more output, I feel like. And he does mix it up as well. He does shoot takedowns. He has solid wrestling. He was able to fuck up Renan Fajeda, the big 6'8" dude over in PFL that Ngannou destroyed by taking him down and just ground and pounding him out. But yeah, I think Dalia's experience and pace should be enough to grind out a decision or even get a late stoppage over Waldo. He can potentially get takedowns over Waldo, but Waldo does have solid takedown defense, as we saw against Sergey Spivak, and a solid chin as well, as we saw against Sergey Pavlovich. So I'm picking Dalia here. Waldo Cortes-Acosta is live though, but I think that Dalia, you know, with the experience, 26-6 versus Waldo with 14-2. To be fair, a lot of that is UFC experience, but I like Ante Dalia here. I think that he's going to be able to get the job done. Waldo Cortes-Acosta by decision is live just because, you know, Ante Dalia is Tom Aspinall's teammate, and we all know that Dana White fucking hates Tom Aspinall. So if we're expecting a robbery in this fight, I would say it goes the way towards Waldo Cortes-Acosta. It's not like Waldo Cortes-Acosta is some kind of bomb that can't get the win here, but I'm picking Dalia. But, you know, bettors beware of the decision is all I'm going to say. If it's not very clearly a Dalia win, they might just give it to Cortes-Acosta to fucking spite Tom Aspinall and his team. But yeah, moving along, we got Steve Garcia versus David Onama. This is a fucking banger waiting to happen. This is going to be a great fight. Onama does have that, you know, athleticism and explosiveness advantage. I would say he might have more speed early on, but Garcia's pressure is very, very good. He looked great against Calvin Kattar. I picked Calvin Kattar to get the win because I was like, I don't know if Garcia's this level yet to beat someone like Calvin Kattar, regardless of how washed he is. And he showed that he was. He fucking dominated Calvin Kattar from start to finish. Calvin Kattar landed a couple of shots. Steve Garcia was able to take him well and just keep pressuring forward. But it wasn't like reckless pressure. It was very measured pressure that he used to just break down Calvin Kattar. It was very impressive. That was a very impressive fight from Steve Garcia. But, you know, Garcia's pressure, man, I feel like this is going to be too much for Onama. He's durable, aggressive, and, you know, he doesn't mind taking a shot to land 3. Onama's never been finished. Steve Garcia has been, which is a bit of a concern. You know, Steve Garcia's been – the last time he's been KO'd was against Maheshate in round 1. He was running forward with a blitz. Maheshate kind of leans back, you know, kind of like Ju Sang-yu did against Jeka Saragi, like that classic Connor pull counter. You know, Maheshate just leaned back, fed him the fucking right hand. Steve Garcia went right to sleep, which is not a great look. But David Onama got fucked up by a Nate Landwehr. He ended up just breaking due to the pressure. I think that Steve Garcia can do the same kind of thing. I don't see that this fight goes to a decision. Neither guy has been 5 rounds before in the UFC. Onama can crack, but he does fade under the heat, and I think that Garcia does thrive in those chaotic situations. Garcia does thrive in the fire. But yeah, I expect Garcia to walk him down, throw volume, and break him late. I would say Steve Garcia potentially round 3 or even maybe 4 or 5 TKO here if it goes that far. But yeah, I mean, David Onama's live early on, but I think that Steve Garcia is going to be able to be technical enough to keep himself safe and get the win here. So these are my picks. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so you guys can see. There we go. So yeah, we got Garcia, KO, TKO round 3, Dalia decision, Garimbo decision, Del Valle, KO, TKO round 3, Radtke, KO round 1, Nascimento submission round 2, Elekana submission round 2. I picked submission, but I maybe leaning towards more decision on Elekana. And then we got Cuamba, KO, TKO round 2. I'm leaning kind of more towards decision on this one as well. Johnson, KO, TKO round 1. Yes, I feel like that's very highly likely. Dumont decision. Yup. Ardelean decision, yes. Co decision, yes. Alencar decision, yes. So yeah. Oops, there we go. That's what I've got for this card here, y'all. UFC Vegas 110. Hopefully we're able to have the same kind of success this week as we did last week. Fingers crossed. But yeah, bros, if you've made it up until this point, I appreciate the hell out of you. Go ahead and leave me a like and comment, all that good stuff. If you disagree on some of my picks, feel free to let me know. I'm not going to get offended. Your picks are fucking trash, bro. No, but yeah, guys, that's going to be it for me. I do appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm going to try to, you know, get these out a little bit earlier, but, you know, no promises, y'all. It's just, you know, with work, you guys know how it is. It's not easy. Because I'm actually trying to give you guys some decent information here on each one of these fights. I do want to watch tape on each fighter, you know, just to get a good idea of what it is that they're good and bad at. So yeah, take some time. Boy works full time. You guys know how it is. But yeah, peace out, dudes. Leave a like for me and subscribe, all that good stuff. And good luck on your bets.